and God breathed the breath of life on this mound of dust, right, that he formed. And then the man became a living soul. Soul, the word is nefesh, right? The living soul. So what's the first thing? What's the first thing a baby does when it's born? It breathes in that direction. And the last thing a human being does, it's breathe out, right? So the ancients would see that and they would like, like, oh, the soul, right? Like, and then all of a sudden we had this crazy non-biblical theology pop up where it's like you're uniting itself, like the Greeks that came up with these words, or that word at least, they believed that whatever image of you there was, like for example, you look behind Marcy. What do you see there? Behind her. No, right on the wall. What do you see? No, right behind her. It's moving with her.
Oh, the shadow.
Okay. So there's this guy, famous student of Socrates. These guys were thinking 600, 700 years before Jesus. They were like, so what makes us us, right? Socrates, they ended up killing him in an open square by making him drink poison in front of everybody because he was misguiding everybody's thoughts away from the gods, right? The idea, Plato, his most famous student, he was like, no, he came up with this thing called the allegory of the cave. He said, everything that we see in this world is Marcy's shadow, right? And there's just a few people on this planet that have been able to escape the cave. So in other words, you're in the cave and you're looking at the shadow, and everything that you see is a shadow. It's a blurry image of what's really somewhere else. For them, when you died, your soul would go back to Mount Olympus, right? Where the gods gave you your life, right? So there's a master mold version of you, a better version of you somewhere that your soul goes back to. Okay. So for some people, you see it everywhere, right?
Colossians 1.
So who alone has immortality? God. Yeah. So to say, to infer that every single person that you have, just because you have the breath of God, right? And there's another verse that says, and the breath returns to God who gave it, right? And so people will use that verse and say, well, your conscience is living with God right now. Huge problem though. What's the point of the second coming if we're already in heaven with God? Is God going to take our souls and shove them back into our bodies?